Hello friends, in this video we will going to learn how Cp and Cv depends on temperature. So for that we have some observation points like what is that? The first observation is that number first Cp is greater than Cv. Why the Cp is greater than Cv? Why? Because since we know that Cp and Cv are the property of the system and it will valid for all the process, but if you think about the constant pressure process and constant volume process, so in this case the specific heat of a substance at a constant pressure is always greater than the specific heat of a substance at constant volume in general. So let us, to verify this observation, let us see that we take a two setup like that. First, if we draw a setup at constant pressure process, so if we take, there is a cylinder and this is your pressure, right? So the pressure inside the cylinder, when the piston is moving, the pressure inside the cylinder remains same. Why? Because there is no any resistance. Why? Because there is no any resistance, pressure will change. So during that process, if we heat supply to the system, that means heat supplied at pressure constant, this is the movement of the piston, right? So for that, this is your case number first, that means a heat supply at a constant pressure. Why? Because if there is a atmospheric pressure and this is your pressure due to weight of the piston, right? When the piston will move due to supplying a heat, during that movement the resistance pressure will doesn't change, so internal pressure will not change. So the pressure, so during heat supply the system will expand, and during the system expansion the piston will move, and that movement is at a, we consider at a constant pressure, right? We think about that the process is constant volume. How we achieve the process is constant volume? See, this is your piston, and if we supply a heat, to the system, this is our system, so piston will be moved, so there is no any chance to fix the volume, so we put stops against it, right? So if heat will supply, though there is a pressure will increase, but the volume remains fixed. Why? Because it behave as a rigid wall. So we know that dq is equal to du plus dw. We know that first law of thermodynamics for a process. So when the heat is supply for a constant process, if we take pressure is constant, example number first, this is pressure constant and this is volume constant. So if the pressure is constant, so heat supply at a constant pressure, that means heat supply at a constant pressure is equal to, the boundary will develop work. Why? Because the piston will displace, so boundary will develop. So if this is your change in internal energy, that means u2 minus u1 plus what is that, boundary work. So in that case the change in internal energy plus boundary work. If the process is at constant pressure process, and then the sum of the internal energy is then the total change of internal energy plus boundary work, we consider the change in enthalpy. This is change in enthalpy. So what is the heat supplied to the system during a constant pressure process, all with the change in its enthalpy. But in the second case, we know that volume constant dq is equal to du plus dw. If the volume is constant, this will 0. Why? Because volume is constant. So what is the heat supply at a constant volume is totally converted into change in its internal energy to increase its internal energy. And when heat supply at a constant pressure totally converted to its change in enthalpy. See these two processes. So for these two processes, what we conclude that, see, if we take the system has same mass, and we want that the system initial temperature T1, and when heat supply the system temperature is T2, same initial temperature T1, and when heat supply the final temperature is T2. So delta T at pressure constant, delta T at volume constant, we are taking like that, same increment of the temperature. So for the same increment of the temperature, the heat supply at a constant pressure is more. Why? Because if we increase the same increment of the temperature, some part of the heat supply we consumed to develop the boundary work. So the change in internal energy will low in this case. Why? Because if you heat supply to the system, it's increase in internal energy plus the boundary work. So the part of the heat to increase, the heat will increase the internal energy. That part of the internal energy will consume to develop a work. Why? Because there is a displacement of a boundary. But if you supply a heat at a constant volume, there is no any boundary work. So total heat supply at a constant volume will converted into total change in internal energy. So in this case, if you change if you want that change of temperature of the system will same, so automatically we supply the more and more heat. Why? Because we want then the change in temperature of both of the process will same. If the change in temperature of the both process will same, so if you supply at a constant pressure, so some energy will converted into boundary work, and part of the energy will be left to internal energy. But here total heat will converted into internal energy. So internal energy in this case will higher than the internal energy of this case. So to maintain that energy for the same increment of the temperature, heat supply at a constant pressure is more. So what is conclude that heat supply at a constant pressure is always higher than the heat supply at a constant volume. And we know that heat supply at a constant pressure is what? M Cp delta T is greater than heat supply at a constant volume M Cv delta T. Mass of the system is same, and you increase the same temperature. So see the beauty, Cp is always greater than Cv, right? Now this is your first observation. The second observation is that, imagine the molecular origin of the Cv and Cp and all of this. That means we think about the molecular level of the system. For the Cv and Cv, this all are associated with a certain temperature derivative, Cp, Cv, like that. These all are depends on the certain temperature derivative. The internal energy, it means they are entirely associated with the intramolecular form of energy. Which form of energy? Transitional mode of energy, vibrational mode of energy, rotational mode of energy, all mode of the molecular motions. All that energy will gives the freedom of molecular motion. So think like that. That means if you think Cp and Cv as the molecular level, and these all associated Cp and Cv These all associated with the temperature derivative of the internal energy. So the molecular level, so the internal energy of the molecular level is of the form of transitional mode of energy, vibrational mode of energy, rotational mode of energy. So for the case of gases, if you think about the gases, monoatomic, right? To think about the gases of monoatomic, like helium, argon, such type of monoatomic, that means single atom. In this case, they are always transitional mode of energy, and other mode are not relevant, like vibrational, rotational. This type of mode are not so important. So for the monoatomic type of gases, they have not energy beyond the transitional mode of energy. So in the case of monoatomic, the dominant form of internal energy is only the transitional mode of energy. So other mode of energy is not so relevant. So in this case, Cp and Cv independent of temperature, they may remain constant over wide range of temperature. Why? Because that mode of energy will only the vibration, only the transitional mode of energy. So if if the molecules have higher and higher mode of energy, so it will, if we it will supply a little bit of temperature, so the energy associated in terms of internal energy is higher and higher. So but in the case of monoatomic, only the transitional mode of energy will dominate over the either rotational or vibrational energy. So when you supply heat, when you transfer heat to the system, that system will change its temperature, will not more dependent on the Cv and Cp. So in the case of monoatomic, Cp and Cv individual is independent of temperature. Number B is for diatomic. For diatomic gases, for diatomic gases like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, like, so for a diatomic, those all modes will there, but that means in the diatomic there is rotational, vibrational, and also transitional, but not severely as compared to the polyatomic gases. This will happening the internal energy in the form of rotational, transitional, and vibrational energy, but not severely as compared to the polyatomic gases. So if you add more and more number of atom, then you have more severe dependent of temperature. So in this case, Cp and Cv depends on temperature, but not severely, right? If you think like that, polyatomic, like CO2. So in this case, Cp and Cv much more dependency on the temperature. So depend on temperature much more severely, right? So if you add number of atoms, so in the case of monoatomic there is one atom, in the case of diatomic there is a two atom, in the case of polyatomic more than two atom. So if we increase the number of atoms, the Cp and along with the Cp and Cv, that means if increase the number of atoms, so Cp and Cv will more and more depend on temperature. Okay. Now, what is for ideal gas? What is for the ideal gas? This is number second. Number D. Number D is for ideal gas. So before that, why we are bothering about its temperature dependency? CP and CB, all the things are why we are discuss about only temperature dependency. Yes, it is depend on temperature, pressure, specific will like that, but the dependency of the temperature is primary. Okay. Now for ideal gas, Cp and Cv is the function of temperature only. So in fact, this can be mathematically shown, but in 1943, Joule did a very classical experiment. So what he did, 1843, Joule did a very classical experiment. What he did, in briefly explain the experiment. See, in this case, there is a water tub. This is your water tub. This is your water tub. And in the water tub, there is a water. There is a water. In the water tub, there is a water, and in the water, we put two bulbs. That means if you put two bulbs, there are two bulbs. In that, we connect, in that, there is a, in this high pressure air at high pressure. Okay, and this is evacuated, and to stop the air moving from this bulb A to this bulb B, we put a stopcock here, right, which prevents these two mixing. And there is, we put also, there is a thermometer here to measure its property, right. Now he opened the valve to let air pass from one tank to another until the pressure equalized. Joule observes nothing in temperature of the water valve and assume that nothing changed. That means no change. If we open the valve, the air will expand, and the air will expand against vacuum. So there, in that case, there is no any work transfer, right? Okay, and along with that, they insulate the water tub. They insulate the water tub, so there is no chance of heat transfer also. If you apply the first law, dq per hour du plus dw, if there is expansion against vacuum, so there is no any work done. So total, if during that, if heat will transfer, during that, if heat will transfer, the total heat transfer is to change its internal energy, but along with that there is insulated, so there is no any heat transfer, so the internal energy remains same of the system. So for that, what is the internal energy initial is the same internal energy final, no change. Hence he conclude that, what is conclude that the internal energy of the air did not of the system will change. So even the, so because the pressure, high pressure and this is vacuum, so their pressure will change of the system, and along with that the volume will change of the system, but during the pressure and volume change of the system, the internal energy will remain same. Internal energy doesn't change, and when the internal energy doesn't change and we put a thermometer to the water tub, the thermometer temperature will not change. So when the joule measure the temperature of the water, it also remains same, right? So the internal energy in this case, air will approximated at ideal gas was supposed to only a function of temperature. So he supposed that that the if the during the change in pressure, so he conclude that that the internal energy of the air did not change even though the volume and the pressure changed. So air was approximated as an ideal gas. So he supposed that because pressure, temperature and volume, there are three properties in which the pressure and volume will change. So during the pressure and volume will change, the internal energy will not change of the system. When he put the thermometer to the water bath, the water bath temperature will remain same. That means there is no any change in thermometric property. So he conclude that internal energy is a function of temperature only. If the temperature doesn't change, so internal energy doesn't change for an ideal gas. Right? So for ideal gas, so we know that what is that? H equal to U plus PV, and for ideal gas, PV is equal to RT. These two combined together, so H equal to U plus RT, and U is the function of T, and this is also a function of T. So H is also a function of T. Number second. So this is your first. If ideal gas is the function of internal energy, function of temperature, so enthalpy is also a function of temperature. So for an ideal gas, U is the internal energy function of temperature, enthalpy is the function of temperature, Cv is the function of temperature, Cp is the function of temperature. These all are the function of temperature. So what is du? Du is the Cv is the function of temperature dt. What is the enthalpy? dH is equal to Cp is the function of temperature dt. So if you for ideal gas, if you calculate the change in internal energy, a change in enthalpy, you must have a knowledge about the Cv is the function of temperature. Then in that condition we will able to calculate the change in internal energy and change in enthalpy. Yeah, you directly seen from your property table. Also, you may write like that. This is like that. What is that? If you find in this way, delta U is equal to what is that? U2 minus U1. And if you have temperature T1 and T2, integrate total. This is your total. So integrate Cv is the function of T dt. And if you total change of enthalpy, H2 minus H1, so you integrate 1 to 2 Cp T dt. So this is your total change of, that means net change in internal and enthalpy. Okay. Thank you very much.